Kia ora, good morning. I've just made my coffee because I've only been up a little bit, so if I pause, it's because I'm having a sip. I want to make this video. I need to document it. It is evidence. It is, I don't know what it is, but I know I need to do it because I'm being urged to make it. I was going to just walk away and leave it and not say anything, but I can't. I'm being pushed to do it, to the point where I was being told to hurry up, get your coffee and hit record, which I really don't want to do, but I do as I'm told. But there's something strange going on with history. It is almost like there are powers out there, quote unquote. I mean, we know who we're talking about, don't we? If you were ever called a conspiracy theorist, I am not a conspiracy theorist. I deal in conspiracy fact. I'm a factualist. And I only deal with facts because I'm a scientist. And when I put stuff out there, if I get it wrong, I will fix it. But something's happening at the moment that seems to be almost trying to prove me wrong. And this isn't a paranoia thing. I've just noticed this odd pattern, and I'm going to give you a couple of examples, and they're really important ones to take notice of. Because I keep saying I don't put my work out there. I don't say anything until I am happy with the evidence, until I'm happy with the investigation, right? Because as a scientist, as someone who is trying to be taken seriously in this field, as someone who wants quantum magnetics written about, as someone who's going to make shows and radio shows and all that based on investigations to do with historical grief, i.e. unsolved historical mysteries and murders and that sort of thing. Like, it's important for me that when I put my stuff out there, that I stand behind my word, that I stand behind my investigation, and I am absolutely digging my heels in and standing behind my claims on this. Now, there's a couple of things, 3 things that I want to talk about, that it is almost like they are trying to rewrite history in order to fool the narrative, or in order to fool the collective, to deflect people looking in their direction. 3 examples. Jack the Ripper. I maintain that the Jack the Ripper murders were done because of the medical school down the road, that they needed bodies to work on in order to practice the autopsies, because remember, it was illegal, and bodies were in short supply. They used to get a lot of them from the insane asylums and prisons and that, but there were more doctors than there were people dying. Same with the Cleveland torso murders. I believe that they were all done to be a supply for for doctors to practice on. What people forget, what people don't look at, what history doesn't look at, they've said, we did a DNA test and it was that Aaron I was going to say Polanski, that Pawlowski guy, or whatever his name is, the Polish butcher dude. But as I said, and I have to stipulate that most people do not believe this. Most people are very hesitant to believe this DNA. We tested the DNA on her shawl or something like that. They've been testing for DNA on that stuff for pretty much since DNA first came out. When DNA first came out, I remember everyone saying, oh my God, this means that we can find out who Jack the Ripper was. And for all those decades, and now all of a sudden, they have advancements in DNA and stuff. But it was a tiny piece of DNA. It was the only piece of DNA, quote unquote. But that doesn't mean he did it. He might have been there, especially if he was helping to supply the bodies, supply the victims. He may have very well been there, because we know with Freemasons, they're all butchers, bakers, candlestick makers, as well as, mayors and all that sort of thing. Now, I am not suggesting, because I actually went back on what I had originally said it was an Illuminati thing, but I really believe it was, now that I look back on everything, and especially when I found out how close the hospital was where they, worked on the cadavers and stuff, was like 2 miles away from Whitechapel. So I don't necessarily believe that it was an Illuminati thing, but I have no shadow of a doubt that there were Freemasons and stuff involved, for the fact that a lot of them were doctors and ran hospitals, and all the evidence is up on my Jack the Ripper video. I put links there to everything I found. And then I re-examined it, because what was written on the wall: the Jews are men who will not be guilty. The Jews are men who will not be found guilty. I believe is to do with like the Freemason Illuminati reference, and yeah. So now all of a sudden, because the Jack the Ripper thing is a big case, I'm so busy jumping ahead with what I'm going to say, because I'm not nervous. See, what happens is, with me, with your dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, that part of your brain, it actually triggers your intuition as well. But with that part of your brain, the minute it senses an injustice or something wrong, it gets triggered, and you feel the need to act, like immediately, which is why I was being pushed to hurry up and make this video. And it's been triggered 3 times, and I'm trying to formulate everything so that it makes sense to everyone, because this is messed up. This is almost like, not only did the Matrix come down so that people started seeing the truth, but they put up a thin veil in order to mask the truth, with these examples of how they seem to be trying to rewrite history to suit their narrative. Just having a sip. The Jews are men who will not be blamed for anything, is what was written on the wall. So they're trying to blame this butcher, and nobody's mentioning the fact that dozens of women were killed in identical circumstances before the Whitechapel women and afterwards. And one of the medical students who became a prime suspect went to America, and the same murder started happening over there. He went to America 2 years after Jack the Ripper, but these similar murders were going on for a long time, long before the 5. The only reason why the 5 got mentioned, is it the 5? 5 women? I can't even, oh my God, I'm so distracted, because I'm trying to make sense of everything. The only reason why the women why we know, like Mary Kelly and all that, why we know their name, is because of the fact that it's the first time that eyewitness testimony put rich men in the vicinity, in the area. A butcher isn't going to have access to a horse-drawn carriage or quote-unquote taxi. He's not going to wear overcoats and top hats and walk with a cane and stuff, but he may have been with people who did. He would have been around the kind of society that would have been perfect to pick out victims. The way those bodies were cut up was like a crude autopsy. And specifically the gynecological area, and there is a gynecology hospital also not far from where the murders took place. Now, obviously, I'm not going into the case because the video is there. I'll put links in the description box below. I do slightly, yeah. It's on my X. I go into it there. I'll put a link in the description box of the video that I made. But something just doesn't sit right. That they're blaming Aaron. It's like, yeah, it's triggered something, and it's not just me, because it's triggering a lot of people to say, yeah, no, something's not right about this. Okay, so I thought, okay, well, as long as everybody else, as long as the science world, and it is mostly the science world, are saying, yeah, there's something not right about this, I'm like, okay, I'm happy to leave that there. There's something not right about it. My hunch is right. Move it along. And then a video dropped in my lap, in my algorithm, that talked about the Ailen Moore mystery, or the Finnan Isles, or whatever they call it. But it's Ailen Moore. Here, we call it the Ailen Moore mystery. He calls it Island, but it's Ailen. Ailen Moore. Now they're trying to say they used ground penetrating equipment to see that there was like a hidden vault or something under the lighthouse. Okay, fine. They found a diary. They found the DNA of the dude who wrote it on the diary. It's the ink from the time, yada yada, blah blah blah. Okay, fine. He sees that there was like a hurricane type storm, and 2 men got washed away, and he got scared and locked himself away, and then all of a sudden he vanished. So obviously we're supposed to believe that, I mean, because I had said that they got washed away. I did say that they got washed away. Again, I'll put a link in the description box below the video I made, but I did slightly change my narrative when I had a dream about Nikola Tesla. And it got me thinking about his energy weapon. Because it was invented literally just like a couple of years before the Ailen Moore mystery, before the Ailen Moore disaster, or whatever you want to call it. I had a dream where he was apologising. I put it up on X. It is all there. And I theorised, I started wondering whether they weren't testing these energy weapons on certain people. They can be used from ships and boats and all of that. And there was a boat sailing around trying to come in, but, you know, because the waters were so choppy and that, they couldn't come in. Now, for over 100 years, everybody who has looked into this case, and it is well documented that the day of the disappearance and the day leading up to the disappearances, there was no storm, the weather was fine. You could see the Isle and the lighthouse from the mainland with what was called perfect visibility. But 3 days later, a storm did hit the mainland, and there was quite a lot of damage done in Glasgow. I even think maybe someone died from a collapsing chimney or something. I don't know, but I can't remember, because I do these things intuitively. It's like I'm led to do it, and I don't really have any control over what comes out of my mouth or when I'm going to do it. I don't know I'm going to be recording anything until I do. So, the link's in the description box. But this new claim says that the 2 men got washed away. He got scared, he ran and hid, and then he disappeared. And that the guy said in the report, you know, the hurricane was documented, blah blah blah, but it wasn't. And this is what I said in my comment to him: visibility was clear. The whole reason for the mystery, if they had gotten washed into the ocean during a storm, then there would be no mystery. You know, okay, it makes perfect sense. There was a storm, they went to secure the moorings and stuff, or they went to secure their boats or whatever, and they got washed overboard. There is no mystery. It was just a tragic accident. But it's the fact that there was no storm. They're trying to say one of them was violent. You know, there could have been a fight, there could have been a this, that, and the other, you know, and it's like this new quote-unquote explanation that explains what happens has blatantly lied and covered up about the weather conditions. He clearly says, you know, oh, it's documented that there was a storm. There was a storm a couple of days before and 3 days after. In my original video for the Aileen Moore mystery, I even say the storm could have gone around the island, that there could have very well been a storm that washed them away, which is exactly what they're saying happened. So I was right there. But then I said, because then the weather was fine until 3 days after, maybe the storm hit the island and went got moved back and then moved around and hit the mainland three days later, because that's what appeared to happen. But now they're trying to say, no, there was a hurricane like storm on the day. And that's not true. It is absolutely not true. It is a blatant lie, and that bothers me. Why are they lying? There was no hurricane. They have to report hurricanes, hurricane-style storm, a surge in the seas, and blah, blah, blah. Everybody, I lived in Scotland. Everybody knows how fast those waters can change, but every newspaper, every document, every witness says that the weather was actually, you had clear visibility on the island. There wasn't even fog. And yet we're supposed to believe that there was this unknown freaky hurricane that never got reported or classified or anything like that on the day, and that's why the three of them went missing. So two of them got washed over, and then we're supposed to believe that one of them came out of the lighthouse, and then also got swept away. Why didn't he just stay in the bunker? Like, it doesn't make sense. They were so scared for their lives they didn't like the lighthouse, but he was not unafraid. He was unafraid enough to then go out after his two pals got washed away, but not enough to light the lighthouse, but enough to go out and the dangers that, nothing is making sense about that. It doesn't add up. And when that triggers the DLPFC in your brain, that is a sign to pay attention. Always listen to that thing that triggers that, in your gut. When you kind of, and you'll squint your face and pull your head back and jerk your shoulders, and that fast movement of kind of like a shock, involuntary reaction to hearing something because it doesn't sound right. That's a warning to pay attention. That is your conscious mind warning you to pay attention to the signs, because something isn't right. And it's usually when you're spotting a lie. When you spot a lie or an inconsistency, your immediate involuntary reaction will be to go, and kind of jerk your head and squint your eyes and, move your head, and you know what I mean? Like almost like an electric shock, surprise news event that you hear that triggers the central nervous system to jolt and get like a pulse of electricity so strong through your central nervous system that your body jolts and reacts to it. That's exactly what I've been doing with the Aileen Moore mystery and now these plane crashes. They're trying to say, once again, that the plane crash with the helicopter and plane was all down to a belligerent lesbian DEI hire. When I've got evidence on my X, on my IG, on my YouTube, and that, it is all there, of them saying, the investigators saying in the crash, it seems like there was some sort of malfunction with the equipment seconds before the impact, where it looks like what do you call it? The flight? Oh God, what, the cockpit? All the equipment on the cockpit mysteriously turned off. I've got the link to the video where the investigators saying it. There's also they've deleted her social media, most of her social media. They're not reporting the fact that her father is a doctor who was whistleblowing about the COVID vaccines, and that most people believe it was done to shut her father up. kids have gone missing over this. Those crashes, a lot of kids were on board, and a lot of these kids have gone missing. A lot of bodies were never found, you know. So, in a lot of these crashes, I mean, where the planes crashes, some of these bodies, they don't get found. And a lot of them are children. And they're trying to say that it was all her fault, that she was being belligerent, that it was a DEI thing. Now, I am not defending DEI hires, because I will never be, as someone who's going to be employing thousands of people around the world, I'm not into the whole DEI thing. I don't care if you're gay, straight, pink, purple, black, white, yellow, whatever. I don't care. If you can do the job, I'm going to hire you. If you have the potential to be something great, if you are the best at what you are, even if you don't have qualifications or whatever, I'm going to hire you, because I'm only going to hire the best and, the most capable for the job, regardless of your sex or your gender or the colour of your skin. But I'm not going to hire you just because you're black, white, pink, white, purple, male, female, gay, straight, whatever. Sorry. So now they're trying to say it was all her, that she all of a sudden decided, as someone who was still learning, to be belligerent and arrogant and cocky, and they've played clips of this and they've played clips of that, and none of it's adding up. It doesn't add up. When I made the video coming out the other day saying about I've been able to prove that there were energy balls following that plane that crashed in Canada. It's like now all of a sudden, it was this, that, and the other thing. Excuse me. It's like something isn't adding up. They are trying to rewrite history to cover their tracks. And it stinks to high heaven. And as a bounty hunter, I was born with instincts so sharp, you could pop a pimple with it. You could thread a needle with my sharp instincts. When something isn't right, my body immediately triggers a reaction, and that's exactly what's just happened with this new information that's come out about the Aileen Moore mystery and these plane crashes. They are trying to cover up their tracks, because I am publicly stating that Trump and Musk have everything to do with those plane crashes. Because Elon Musk wanted, and this is public knowledge, it is all over the place, he wanted the FAA contracts, and he was building the planes for Trump, the Air Force 1 and 2 or something. He was getting the contracts to build those planes, and he wanted to build like the new planes, get rid of the FAA. Remember, they fired all those FAA people. And he said, Elon Musk said in his own words, I want to have the contract, I want to run the FAA, I'll do it properly. So, of course, how are you going to make him look competent enough to win all these contracts? He's won the military ones for the vehicles and for their cyber yucks, and, and apparently the Ministry of Defence and that gave him the contracts for the planes and trucks and all of that at the time that all these planes were crashing. But it's a DEI hire. They're blaming it on a poor, innocent little lesbian girl, calling her belligerent and rude and disrespectful and yada. If she was so, why give her the job? Why put her in that position? You're not all of a sudden just arrogant and belligerent. It's not something that you are overnight, to just change your personality overnight. They let her fly it. No one in their right mind would be so stupid as to ignore flight control orders or anything like that, as they have the visibility of the plane coming up ahead of you. And what the investigation said, where I put the links up on my X and that, I tried to find it on my Instagram. I'm pretty sure it's there. I just can't be asked finding it, but I know it's definitely on my X, and there's plenty of stuff on there with me going off on Donald Trump about this too, because I was utterly disgusted with the way that they just immediately blamed this girl when the evidence started coming out that it looks like something happened on that helicopter or the aeroplane. I can't remember. It's the video, the link is there with the woman talking on the news, where she said that there is, it looks like almost like the cockpit equipment just suddenly malfunctioned and switched off seconds before impact. It is there, and now all of a sudden I know it's not. Like, we're supposed to forget all of that and just pretend like, oh, it's because of a grumpy lesbian arsehole. I don't think so. It doesn't sit right. And when something doesn't sit right, that's God's way of saying, pay attention, look into it, because someone is lying. They are lying. They are trying to rewrite history in order to protect themselves. And God's like, yeah, no, sorry, this isn't right. Something isn't right. And the truth is going to come out eventually. But people also need to remember that her father was a doctor who was whistleblowing about COVID, about the vaccines. And a lot of people believe that it was to teach him a lesson. And now all his social media has been taken down and blah, blah, blah. It's if they did that to my kid, I would be so angry that I would be going all over the media, talking to any news reporter that would listen, because there is something not right about this. If she was so incompetent, why give her the job? Okay, DEI. Really? So they're going to trust an inexperienced person to fly millions of dollars worth of equipment just to not hurt people's feelings. When are people going to wake up and realise that everything that you're told on the media, that everything that comes out of our leaders' mouths is nothing but a lie to suit their own narrative, for their own purpose, for their own gain? The reason why I'm speaking up about this DEI thing with that girl is because people are slaughtering her reputation all over social media. All over the media, all over social media, and that's not fair. As a protector of the pure and innocent, as somebody who defends the dead, who can defend the dead, who does defend the dead, this is outrageous, and I can't have it, and I have to speak up and say something. So I'm making this video and putting it out there because of the fact that truths are going to start coming out eventually. And my evidence speaks for itself on X, and I don't speak until I'm happy with what it is that I have to say, because obviously as a scientist and as someone who wants to be taken seriously with my shows and all of that, doing these investigations, connecting the dots, and the eye in the sky, you know, my work is my reputation is behind my work. And I'm telling you now, they're lying about that plane crash to cover everything up that I said was the truth. The same with the Finnan, Alan Moore, because of the Tesla energy weapon. I had a dream that Nikola Tesla came to me and apologised and offered me some information or something, and I looked into it, and that's when it led me to the Alan Moore mysteries. It's on my X. I didn't post it on Instagram. I may have posted it on YouTube, but I didn't, as in the community box, but I don't think I posted any of that on Instagram, because I was being told to focus on X. So, but the evidence is there, and I'm telling you now, they're lying to cover their tracks, to cover things up, because I/other people are starting to cotton on to what they're doing. And if they're ever held accountable for this stuff, it's death penalty. Like, you know, if Musk and Trump are ever held accountable for what they've been doing with those planes and those kids, and with their energy weapons, you know, the 5G towers, and quote unquote their health towers where they use actual cobalt to quote unquote heal people that cause the floods in North Carolina and stuff. That was a business that Elon Musk and Donald Trump went into in 2020, and those towers are killing Americans hand over fist, bringing down planes, causing natural disasters. The evidence is all there. I have the science, even from the CIA. It's all there. Britain uses the same weapons to make people go nuts in crowds and cause them to run around, doing stupid things like stabbing and killing random innocent people in the street. They have the same weapons. My evidence is all there. The evidence speaks for itself. And yet we're supposed to just wash all over the evidence and just believe this new little thing that came out to prove that Trump and Musk were right. That's exactly why they've done it, because all my evidence and everyone else's evidence is pointing to the fact that it was energy weapons. People see the flashes of lights on the video. You can't lie on the video unless it's AI, but the video footage that I was examining definitely isn't AI. But this is what they want you to think, to cover their tracks, to make them look better, because I've been saying stuff. I'm Musk and Trump's public enemy. I wouldn't say number one, but I'd be close to it. Public enemy 1.5, because I'm whistleblowing all over the shop, calling them out on their BS, calling them out on their evil. And I used to be a massive Trump supporter. My boys and I helped him to win his election. But it had to be done, because the truth had to come out. America has to wake up and see what they're dealing with. America has to wake up and know who they're dealing with, because it's going to get worse. It's going to end up like Nazi Germany. And I'm not even joking. People are going to start dying in droves because of them and their weapons, and they're covering their tracks and trying to make out like they're the good guys when they are absolutely not. There is a reason why God hates them. There's a reason why God put that mask on me to help them get into power, and it's because everybody worships them when they're actually worshipping some of the most evil, tyrannical people history's ever known. When all this is said and done and it's all over and the cleansing has happened and America takes their country back and they bring in a collective of leaders rather than a president and blah, 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 when the truth gets exposed about who they were actually dealing with Elon Musk and Donald Trump and their little posse of evildoers for greed and power, when the truth comes out, they're going to look worse than like Hitler and Himmler and all that. Mengele, and they're going to look worse than the Nazis and Pol Pot and all of that. Because at least they didn't hide what they were doing. They didn't hide their crimes. They were blatant about who they were killing and why they were doing it and stuff like that. But these two, under the shadows, under the radar. But I see everything, and so does God. And I have second sight. And I listen to my DLPFC, and I listen to my intuition. And when I am told, when I am struck by that bolt of lightning that triggers my central nervous system to react in such a way that I jolt like I've been electric shocked and go, huh? That doesn't sound right. And then it won't leave me alone and it eats me alive, and I can't let it go because it's a glitch that I need to fix. In history, in truth, that's what the quantum menace does. She travels through history in order to correct the glitches to stop history from disappearing in the future. This is exactly what's happening now. I've just realised. This is exactly what's happening now. I wrote the quantum menace in 2015 about a woman who jumps through time to the past in order to save certain people, to stop history from disappearing in the future, and trying to uncover who it was that was responsible for Art Morda, who I now know as Donald Trump, who I now know as Elon Musk, and the Diglassarden Brigade, the Glass Eye Brigade, meaning the people feeding him the stuff through the. I originally thought Aunt Morta was my ex-husband Chris, and that the Diglassarden Brigade was San Tarot and the other tarot readers feeding him information through the tarot readings, until I started to realise that it was so much bigger than what I was dealing with, that the Diglassarden Brigade were all the people that were feeding, like it would be like Doge and the people at Twitter and social media, and that the one controlling what everybody sees, and also the fact that they also tested Elon Musk AI robots out in public, and we're supposed to pretend like that didn't happen, which is also up on my X, because they're trying to integrate AI robots into real life. And they're trying to let people think that it's okay and it's perfectly normal. And if you didn't notice that Elon Musk was a robot, then what's the problem? I'm not joking. I'm not making any of this up. The evidence is on my X. You see the videos, other people are commenting about it, and when other people are saying stuff, there has to be some validity to it. I do not buy into conspiracy theories. This whole conspiracy theory stuff drives me insane, because of the fact that people just hold on to anything and run with it, and it's defamatory, it's libelous, it's sometimes egregious smear campaigns against innocent people like this girl pilot, and someone has to say something. So I've lost everything anyway, like I what have I got to lose but with my life? But at least if anything happens to me when I die, my truth is out there, and then people will look back on my stuff and go, God, she was right. She was telling the truth the whole time. Like Isaac Cappy. People realising he was telling the truth the whole time with his videos. So, but I know my life is in danger, but I know I'm untouchable. I'm not worried about that. I just want to get justice and get my boys out of here so that we can leave, because Great Britain it's not somewhere I can live anymore with the government the way that it is. They're insane. Ironically, what they tried to say about me, but anyway, just having a sip. I made videos, and I have made it very, very clear. When I got locked up, I'm doing this for the boys. I'm doing this for America. I'm doing this for the children. Because I knew that whatever I was going to go through when I came out the other side, I would get justice, and that I would be able to free America from what I was being told they needed to be protected from. And I've been making videos for years. I've been putting posts up for years telling America I've got their back. And I'm telling you, America, I have got your back. And you are being lied to. And the media is feeding you lies. And something has to be done, because when they start rewriting history to suit their own narrative, claiming that it's the truth has come out, the truth has been revealed, in order to hide the fact that they are using things out there in society that they don't want you knowing about, you need to start waking up. You really seriously need to start waking up. Anybody out there supporting Trump who believes that America is in a better state now than it was before he was elected are delusional, and probably under the Schumann resonance restraint or something, because it was a joke when Biden was in power, but now it's a disgrace with Trump in power, and that's not fair on the American people. And I'm here to defend and protect the American people, as I have been since day one. That will never change. So America, you need to wake up. You're being lied to. Do not let people and the media let you believe that that poor girl was responsible for all those deaths. The things that people are saying about her are utterly disgusting. The things that that Trump said about her, utterly disgusting. But you're not going to wake up if you don't know the truth. But if you don't listen to the truth, you're never going to wake up. So it's just weird that these three things have come out and none of it makes sense to what they're saying, but we're supposed to just wash over and gloss over everything else to believe this new narrative that is completely rewriting what everybody knew. And like I said, I do not believe that the Jack the Ripper murders were a Jewish thing. I have no doubt that Jewish people were involved because, you know, we're dealing with hospitals and that, and a lot of the doctors were Jews. But I don't believe it was like necessarily an Illuminati thing. A lot of these doctors were very rich, very powerful people, especially in London in those days. Lived in beautiful houses and had all the money in the world, especially if you were a surgeon. And they were running out of cadavers. And nobody talks about the fact that identical murders took place before Jack the Ripper and after, and got taken over to America as well. Right up until like way past the Cleveland torso murders. So many identical things between those two cases, it's not funny. But we're supposed to believe that it was one butcher, even though eyewitness testimony says otherwise. So something's going on that you need to wake up and be aware of, because there's people out there with the help of the media trying to literally rewrite history to save their own skins and to protect a narrative so that they can control how people see history, so that they can reshape and remold the present to have the future that they want. Go to my X, you'll see Robot Elon right next to Donald Trump and J.D. Vance and all of that. You'll see him. I've got a couple of videos up there. I'm not making any of this up. This is all stuff that would be good enough to use as evidence in court if the judge was fair. From my experience in the UK, there's not been a lot of them floating about, and the one in my case, absolutely not. But I hold out hope that they still exist, that there are good, decent, law-abiding judges out there. So I'm going to go and have my breakfast now. But just remember, if you hear something that triggers that kind of reaction, like it did with me, pay attention, because that's a sign from God that He's needing you to dig deeper. Something's not right, it's a lie. So I'm just putting it out there. I'll speak to you later. Jack the Ripper and Alan Moore in the description box. All the rest you'll have to go to my X and all of that for. I can't go into my X still. I'm not allowed in there yet. I have to keep away until the coast is clear. I'm so heavily shadow banned, it's not even funny. Every time I post stuff now, the first thing they do is shut my phone down. My phone will just magically malfunction and have to restart. So, yeah, I've Elon Musk and Donald Trump have been fed to the wolves, the hounds of hell, and I've got to stand back and wait until the slaughter's over. All I care about is getting justice, getting out of here, and protecting the people that I need to protect, and that's Americans, the average, everyday, innocent Americans, as well as innocent Ukrainians, innocent Russians, innocent British, innocent. If you're innocent, you're innocent, and I will speak up for you, living or dead. Okay, so I'm just putting it out there. Just please don't believe everything you're being told, especially if it comes from someone in power or someone in the media. Do your own research. Listen to the ears on the ground. Listen to the eyes on the ground. Listen to the average everyday person. They have no reason to lie. Their reactions to these things on these videos and that are the unscripted, the as it happens, the live reactions. Pay attention to them and not the voices coming from the ethers, from the the radio waves and airwaves and band waves and that. Listen to the eyes on the ground, the average everyday person, not the spokesperson, not the senator, not the mayor, not the someone put in front of the media with a script or a piece of paper, not a president, not a prime minister. Listen to the eyes on the ground, which is why they want to, ban free speech on social media, because they know that the truth comes out. So jump on that surfboard, people, and ride the wave, because it's going to take you to a shore that helps you discover a whole new country of truth out there that you didn't even know existed. Jump on the surfboard, ride the wave to truth. I have to go and get food because I'm starving. I didn't want to make this video. I wanted to just leave it, but it was nagging at me, because someone has to defend the truth. Someone has to defend that girl. Someone has to defend the truth. And that's me. That's what I'm here for. I'm a truth seeker. I'm a truth teller. I'm a whistleblower. I'm a, when there's an injustice against the innocent and God steps in, when God rings that alarm and says, Debbie, do something, I have to. So, food for thought. Have a beautiful day. Hold your head up high and know that you are loved, and we're going to get you through this. We really are truly going to get you through this. We just have to get some bad people out of the way first. Starmer's hanging on a lot longer than I really thought he would. Usually when I have dreams, they come to fruition within about 2 weeks, but sometimes it's not the case. But everybody here keeps saying he's on his last legs. And it looks like he's probably going to be taking the monarchy with him, which is heartbreaking, because I've been doing everything I can to protect the monarchy. Anyway, that's not my business now, because I'm getting ready to leave. So, Canada, here we come. Ka kite anō. Mwah.